Hey guys, Patriot with you tonight, doing something a little bit different. Instead of starting at the desktop, we're going to start here in the fish tank. You can see lots of critters in there. I put some algae wafers in there to bring some of them down lower, so that's what they're doing. You can see I've got a couple of lights sitting in the tank, and they're on, although it's hard to tell that they are on, and that's because they're outputting a quarter lumen. And you can see from this angle that they certainly are on. But I put these in here this morning. I've never really done a waterproof test on a Maratac AA before. Of course, we've reviewed the AA Maratac once before, but this is the new one. This is the Maratac AA Revision 2 or REV 2. A couple days ago we did the Maratac AAA, and now we've got the AA. So we're going to get to the desktop here in a minute. We'll pull these out of the tank and we'll go sit down and get started. Hey guys, Patriot coming to you from the desktop with another AA flashlight review. This time it's going to be on the CountyComm Maratac AA REV 2. What you're looking at here is the flashlight that kind of kicked off the modern AA LED flashlight craze. This is the second version, or its own REV 2, of the original CMG Infinity that kicked things off back in the year 2000. A couple of years later they introduced the CMG Infinity Ultra, which is what these are. I no longer have CMG Infinities because when these came out with their whopping 7 or 8 lumens as compared to the original version's 3 or 4 lumens, I got rid of my last Infinity. In any case, the body style is essentially the same as the original light. Of course, these date back to the year 2000 themselves, and Gerber actually ended up buying out CMG, putting their own name on this one with this lighter anodizing. This was the original style. This was the later one, and it looked exactly like this, only it said CMG, or it said Gerber Infinity Ultra. After that, they went to a completely different design. Let me pan over and show you. Okay, we're looking at Gerber's website now, and you can see that instead of having the twisty front end on it, they actually went to a tail twist version. And I'll be flat out honest with you, they really lost their following when they did this design. They still call it the Infinity Ultra, and now this technology is 10 or 12 generations old, but they're still using the exact same thing. I think Gerber needs to have a couple of Candle Power Forums guys hired onto their staff and just revamp their entire flashlight line. They're so outdated, and they really don't have a clue, to be honest with you. So we transitioned from this little outstanding light that kind of broke all of the molds. You know, we had an extremely tough, probably the toughest AA flashlight still to this day. Very thick aluminum body on it, big heavy lug on the back. No problems with those breaking or twisting like the early ARC AAA lights that had a real thin web right here. Some of them would twist or pull through. Nothing like that going on with this big beefy design. You can see how thick that is, how it's tapered and kind of radiused out there. So very nice machining for its day. Standard anodizing, wasn't hard anodized or anything like that. 5mm LED, no reflector or anything, just a recess to protect that protruding LED. And so now we transition to the modern AA LED flashlight. As the title indicates, what you're looking at here is the Maratac AA. This is the REV 2. I've owned a couple of original versions now for, I guess it's been a couple years. Time flies. But I've got one in each color. Both are hard anodized. One is a silver anodizing, the other is a black anodizing, like the one that I still have sitting in the box next to it. Let's go ahead and show you how this thing came. I just put the old one in the case here so that I could feature the two new ones outside. You can see that the packaging has changed over time. This was the old standard packaging for the Maratac AA. and now they've got it inside of this little tougher vault. Lid comes off. A couple of spare O-rings. What a nice idea. Again, I've never had to replace any of my O-rings on my Maratac lights. Pretty amazing when I think how much use they get. You can see that it does have the diffuser on it, and it's got a little tag in here. Let you see that. And you can pause that and read it if you'd like. You can see here that it was packaged with a diffuser on it. Now this is my black hard anodized original. This is the version 1. Behind it here is the version 2. So I'm going to take this off and we'll just transition over to the version 2 light. One thing that I noticed is that this diffuser actually fits on a little bit tighter than on the original version, and it's a dead giveaway that the diameter of the head is slightly larger on the newer version here. Very small difference, but it is bigger, and I'm thinking that probably has to do something with the thread thickness in here, that they beef that up a little bit. You can see that the walls of the head are actually slightly thicker themselves. Overall length is exactly the same. They said that it comes with a stronger clip on it. I just dropped it on the floor. But it comes with a stronger clip on it. Although the material itself seems to be about the same, the bend is a little bit different. It's a much shallower bend on the new REV 2 here, and you can see that they shortened it so that you don't have this big bend sticking way off of the body of the flashlight, and they took this little bend that fits against the body and moved it to just short to the smaller diameter right here. Very good thinking, great design. The metal itself mics out at the same thickness, but I think that this tighter bend back here actually has the effect of offering a little bit more tension, but I'll tell you the difference between the tension of this one and this one wasn't quite as much as what I had noticed in the AAA REV 2. So that one had a substantially tighter clip. This one's just a little bit tighter. But the way that that little bend falls in behind the shoulder of the body right here, it naturally grips your clothes a lot better, whereas this one can slide off very easily. It can pull straight out. This one, the material, let's say it was your pant pocket, it has to pull out and up from there. So a good design on the new clip. I like it. Alright guys, I'm going to exchange the REV 2 black for the REV 2 silver. That way we can keep these separate. This is the REV 1, this is the REV 2 in silver. Besides the other things that we talked about, the black one here, the REV 1, uses an XPE Q5 emitter. The REV 2 uses an XPE R3 emitter. They claim it's about 55% brighter. We talked about the clip. The newer one, the REV 2, you can see has a deeper reflector and a slightly different dome on the LED. See how the dome on the older light is a bit larger. This one's a little bit flatter on the R3 emitter. The surface of the reflector itself is virtually identical. Not much of a change there. Same goes for the anti-reflective coatings on the lens. You get about the same color out of both of those, kind of a blue-green. They look to be identical. Going to the back of the light, they actually modified the keychain hook on the REV 2 to be a little bit larger That way you can run a slightly larger cord through there. That was a complaint on the older version there. So we've got a little bit larger loop on this one. The old light was a 3-mode. 1 low, 2 medium, 3 high. The new light is a 2-mode. Starts on high, off and on again, and it goes to low. But at this time it goes to a very, very, very low low. You can see the difference between the low on the REV 1 and the low on the REV 2. Okay, the original version light on low ran 1.5 lumens. I actually think it's a bit more than that, but they say it's 1.5 lumens for 100 hours. This one in low now runs at a 1/4 lumen for 225 hours. I suspect it would be even more than that if you do the math, but this one's probably running at more than 1.5 lumens. Let's skip the medium and go right to high mode. On high mode with the old light, it was 85 lumens for about 2 hours. The new one is 125 lumens for 90 minutes. So pretty substantial jump there, about 55%. Let's talk about the low mode on the REV 2 here. You can see it's very consistent too between these two lights. Here's this one on low, and here's this one on low. It's my personal opinion that if you're going to have a 2-mode light, that a 1/4 lumen is just too low. I think that they would have been better off to do a similar output to the REV 1 on low. Either that or give this light a 3rd level. The problem with the 1/4 lumen low, at least their idea of a 1/4 lumen, is that it's just not bright enough. The idea is that you could walk around in a darkened house with your pupils dilated, and once you were used to the dark, you could navigate, quote, very easily. Well, I don't find that that's the case. I mean, I've got pretty decent eyes, and even night adapted eyes. It's a chore to walk around with a tight beam like this at a 1/4 lumen. It's real easy to run into stuff or trip into things, or step on a, out here in Arizona, if you're walking around at night, it's a good idea to keep your eyes on the ground, especially if you're barefoot, because we have scorpions out here. You don't want to step on one. If I'm running one of these at a 1/4 lumen, it doesn't give me enough light to detect a critter walking across my light colored carpet. So I actually think that a 1/4 lumen is too low for this type of light. Now, I wouldn't have a problem if they gave us a low like this, which works really nice with the diffuser. You can see with the amount of light in here, though, it really doesn't show up. Shows up just fine on high, but again, that's 125 lumens working on a rechargeable Eneloop battery.